Hi, welcome or welcome back to Books and Bocadillos. My name is Maria Andrea, and today I am recording the This or That tag. This tag was created by Ross at Scally Dandling About the Books and Elizabeth at Bookends Books. I was tagged by Ellen at Ellen Made Book Club about a month ago. I'm just getting to it. This tag is in celebration of People April, which has passed. And so the questions are going to be choosing between different types and structures for writing memoir, biography, autobiography, nonfiction, essentially about people. It is raining outside, and I am super excited because it's been so hot, and this feels like a relief. So if you can hear the rain in the background, enjoy. This will be a cozy video with hopefully some rain sound, and I have a cup of tea. I hope you have something comforting. This is the first time I drink a hot cup of tea in a while because it's been so hot. So I'm enjoying it to the sound of the rain. So question number one, big, fat, and detailed biographies or short and succinct biographies? So an example of a big, fat, and detailed, I think, would be Barack Obama's Promised Land. I have part one upstairs. I don't own part two. And that's a big biography. I That's an example of one that I own. A short and succinct biography. I'm trying to see if I have a biography that is short and succinct. I don't own a biography that is short and succinct. If I had to choose between a big one and a short one, I would go for the big one. I'd go for the big one because I like information and I love research. I love going to a library and just being surrounded by all the information at your fingertips. And so I like being able to handle a lot of information and then tease out the parts that I find most interesting or most relevant to what I want to know or what I want to learn or whatever questions I have about the topic, or in this case, the person. Um, so when I get a big fat biography, I'm probably not going to try to read that chronologically. I might skim it and just read bits and pieces from it at a time. Maybe I would start with the parts that were most relevant, or maybe I would start with the parts that were more obscure that I was more interested in knowing about the person. So, yeah, I would say big, fat, and detailed. Question number two, celebrity memoirs or average Joe memoirs? So, an example of a celebrity memoir, goodness, this pile is about to topple. Then there it goes. So, Surrender 40 Songs, One Story by Bono. I really love this celebrity memoir. I purchased it, what was it, last year when it came out? (2022). I purchased it in 2022 and I love it. I listened to the audiobook because, of course, Bono narrates the audiobook, and there's like music bits in the audiobook. So I really wanted to get the audiobook. But I also bought it because I loved the audiobook so much, and I kept wanting to go back to parts of the story here. And I actually used a piece of this as a reading for my husband and I celebrated our 10-year anniversary last year, and I took a piece from a reading from here for our anniversary party. You could say it's like a little garden party. So it was really, really fun, and I really enjoyed the, like, this is the inside the cover. It's really cool. There's artwork in here as well. Let's see. So this is an example of a celebrity memoir that I loved and I own. An Average Joe memoir. For this one, I'm going to go with this one. Barefoot Heart, Stories of a Migrant Child by Elba Trevino Hart. And this was the winner of the American Book Award. Has this little sticker here. I actually got a signature back in the day when this was signed in '01. She signed on this. And so what is this about? It says, Barefoot Heart is a vividly told autobiographical account of the life of a child growing up in a family of migrant farm workers. It brings to life the day-to-day existence of people facing the obstacles of working in the fields and raising a family in an environment that is frequently hostile to those who have little education and speak another language. Barefoot Heart is also the story of how the author overcame the disadvantages of this background, discovered her true talents, and in the process found herself. Elba Trevino Hart was born in South Texas to Mexican immigrants. She spent her childhood moving back and forth between a small segregated South Texas town and Minnesota. She has a bachelor's degree in theoretical mathematics and a master's degree in computer science engineering from Stanford University. She worked as a computer professional for 20 years. She now lives in Virginia. It has some blurbs. I won't read all of it, but yeah, this is a memoir or autobiography, and I read it. I purchased this in 2001. I went to the author's talk about this book, promotional talk about the book. So I bought it back when it came out in '01, and I read it back then. That was a long time ago. I don't remember it fully. I would have to reread it. I remember really liking the way she talked about the book, and of course, I was excited to buy it and read it at the time. And she is from my area. She doesn't live in the area anymore, but she's from here. So this or that. Um, I think celebrity memoirs are fun, but I mean they're easy. Everybody wants a celebrity memoir. I think an average Joe memoir is more difficult to attain. Like it's harder to be an average Joe who gets to have a printed book of like a memoir or an autobiography. And although I really, really, really enjoyed and loved Bono's memoir, I feel like it was easy for this to happen, and it must have been challenging for this to happen. Like, I mean, she had a master's degree from Stanford. Like, to get to that point, go from being a migrant child in the fields to getting a master's from Stanford and having the privilege to like publish something, that takes a lot of work. So this one has a recency bias because I just listened to it and read it last year and really, really enjoyed it. This one has taken some time since I read it, but I think I appreciate the average Joes more because I think that it's a harder journey to get here. Another example of an average Joe would be this one, Corrections in Ink by Carrie Blakinger. I talked about this one last year when I read it, and this is the blurb here says, a groundbreaking debut from an extraordinary writer, a testament to where a woman can go after rock bottom. So Carrie Blakinger was like a young athlete, and then developed an addiction to drugs, and then um, for some time spent in prison because of drug charges, and coming out of that, and now being an activist for people who are incarcerated. Um, and this is like so courageous and um, important. So, I think that getting to this point for both of these women who get to write their stories, I think this is really valuable. It adds value. It adds a sense of like value to these stories. Just the journey to getting to this point. Um, it's harder to come by, and I think that they're more rare. I could probably list off more celebrity memoirs than average Joe memoirs that I have read. If I were to tally them, I'd probably read more celebrity. But I'm going to pick, in terms of appreciation, I'm going to pick the average Joe. Question number 3, complete correspondence or selected letters? I'm going to go for complete correspondence because, like I said earlier, I like to do my own dissection. I like to do my own teasing and pulling apart parts that I enjoy. So I think I would enjoy like a big book. Actually, I've had one on my TBR, my wish list for the longest time. I have been pining for the complete letters of Shirley Jackson. I saw it at a Barnes and Noble a while back, and every time I'd go, I'd pick it up and I'd hold it, and I'd be like, next time, next time. And I finally got a gift card, and I went to the Barnes and Noble to go buy it, and it wasn't there anymore. So I didn't order it, but I thought next time. So yeah, that's an example of one that I would love. Question number 4. For memoirs, do I prefer memoirs written fresh or with hindsight? And I want to say it depends, but I'm trying not to. Fresh or with hindsight? Okay, so let's do this. I feel like I'm playing this game, like the battle of the things where you hold two books and you have to pick between them, and it's so hard. That's what I'm going to do with this one. So, fresh, an example of a memoir that was written fresh when the events were fresh. Good Talk by Mira Jacob. This is a memoir in conversations. It is a graphic memoir, and this memoir was created after the 2016 election in the United States, the presidential election. And it was of its time. Like, it needed to be fresh. These conversations were happening and things were changing in our country, and it had to be fresh. Like, I think it sold really well, and it was really interesting because we were all facing the same conversations with our parents and with our friends and at work, and like it was all over the place. So this is an example of a memoir written when things are fresh, and it worked, and it is of its time. And I have read it and reread it, and it reminds me of the time, and it's really, really great. I'm really happy. And the whole thing is because she's a parent, Mira Jacob is a parent, and having to explain what was happening in the news to her young son at the time, really, like, I think it really blew her mind. Can you hear the rain? I'm so excited. Okay. Mira Jacob is the author of the critically acclaimed novel The Sleepwalker's Guide to Dancing. Her recent work has appeared in the New York Times Book Review, Vogue, Glamour, Tin House, Electric Literature, and Literary Hub. She lives in Brooklyn. And it is a bold, wry, and intimate graphic memoir about American identity, interracial families, and the realities that divide us. And it is of its time, and I love it so much. Now, by the same token, a graphic memoir that was written with hindsight is Girl on Film. Oh, I finished this one. I forgot to mention that in my week in review. Oh, I'll have to talk about it next time. So I finished this last week. Girl on Film. I started it back in February for the Filmtastic February reading event hosted by Annie at Obscure Book Adventures. And it is by Cecil Castellucci. And Cecil Castellucci reflects on her journey to becoming a cinematographer. So this is written with hindsight. This is a memoir about coming of age and chasing after her passions to be a film writer, to be in the film industry, and all that it took to get there, and the imposter syndrome, the second guessing, the struggling financially to get to reach her dreams. It is told with a lot of hindsight, and I love how it breaks in the cognitive process and the memories and how we remember things. So the hindsight is there because it's like teasing out, like, as she's talking through remembering her experiences, she's also reflecting on how memories are created. And it's really interesting. I think her parents are scientists, and so she has these conversations with her dad about neuroscience and cognition. And it's I think it's interesting. It's special on the page, and it's really cool. I love the artwork. It's very, like, the colors are perfect. The color palette. It's not too bright and it's not dull. It's really engaging and fun to get through. Oh, I love this. This is her, like, older version of herself once she is, has made it in the film industry. So, okay. So now I have to pick fresh or with hindsight. I'm going to go with fresh. I'm going to go with fresh because reading this felt, because it was so on point and so of its time and so engaging in terms of, like, relevant to the time, and it's fresh and it's like it's part of the zeitgeist. This was a lot of fun. Like, it was really, really engaging, and this was really, really cool, and I really enjoyed reading it. But this felt more like gripping and exciting of it because it was written and I read it in the time, like, very fresh to the events. And unfortunately, we're still kind of going through dealing with 2016 presidential election. So, like, fresh wins. Okay. Gossipy biographies or scholarly bios. If it's audio, definitely gossipy. Scholarly on audio, just no. For audiobooks, I definitely prefer the gossipy biographies. If I'm going to, like, really dig in and then try to learn something about a person, I'm going to go with scholarly. So if I'm listening to it, it has to be gossipy. If I want it on the page and I want it as a reference book and I want to learn about this person over time, I'm going to choose scholarly. I don't have either in here, so I can't show you examples. But Spare by Prince Harry, is that gossipy? Or I haven't read it yet. Thinking Britney Spears is on my TBR. I have it. I just haven't listened to it yet. It's on audio. I think those are. I tend to find celebrity memoirs are more of the gossipy type, and they're also the more fun to listen to because they're usually read by the celebrity. So, okay, I kind of chose both for that, and I hope that's okay. I'm gonna say it's okay. All right. So, question number 6: Diaries of ordinary life or diaries of extraordinary events. I don't have, well, no, I don't have any diaries. I have, I have these two. So I have a memoir called A Homemade Life, and it's not a diary, it's a memoir. Um, I haven't read it yet. It's on my shelves. I really want to get to it. So I think this is about everyday life. And then of course 84 Charing Cross Road is about just correspondence between a writer and a bookstore owner, and bookseller, books, both, I guess. Um, and so neither one of these are diaries, but I really enjoy the ordinary life. As you can see, I have these about ordinary life. So I'm gonna say ordinary life because it tends to be what I own. Um, Artsy memoirs or sporty memoirs? Definitely sporty. I love a sporty memoir. I think I'm more impressed because I have zero athleticism in me. So I think um, I'm more easily impressed by sports feats of like athleticism. So I'm going to say sporty. Question number 8: gritty autobiographical writing or inspirational autobiographical writing? I'm going to say gritty. I'm going to say gritty autobiographical writing. An example of this would be this one: In the Dream House by Carmen Maria Machado. This is gritty, and I love the way Carmen Maria Machado tells her memoir in different styles. She uses the idea of a dream house and then plays with that notion of a dream house to tell her story, their story of survival of domestic abuse, domestic violence. Um, so this is a book cherish. I love. It was one of our book club books, my in real life book club with my friends. We read this together, and it's a memorable one. I've dog-eared this. I've annotated it. I find that the grittiness of it was just so compelling, and there's beauty. To quote another book here, another book title, "There's beauty in breaking." And this is by Michelle Harper. It's a memoir about a physician, an ER physician, I think. I purchased this during the pandemic and I haven't read it yet, but I'm going to say gritty. 9. Biographies of historical figures or biographies of contemporary figures? So this is a biography of a historical figure, and I might say historical figure. I have the autobiography of Eleanor Roosevelt, so that's historical, and I have this one. This is Black Count by Tom Rees. The subtitle is Glory, Revolution, Betrayal, and the Real Count of Monte Cristo. Um, the back says Slave, Soldier, Liberator, Hero. General Alex Dumas is a man unknown today, yet his story is strikingly familiar because his son, the novelist Alexandre Dumas, used his larger-than-life feats as inspiration for such classics as The Count of Monte Cristo and The Three Musketeers. But hidden behind General Dumas' swashbuckling adventures was an even more incredible secret. He was the son of a black slave who rose higher in the white world than any man of his race would before our own time. Born in Saint Dominique, now Haiti, Alex Dumas made his way to Paris, where he rose to command armies at the height of the Revolution until he met the implacable enemy he could not defeat. Time magazine called The Black Count one of those quintessentially human stories of strength and courage that sheds light on the historical moment that made it possible. It is also a heartbreaking story of the enduring bonds of love between father and son. I might read this for Father's Day. I think would be a really great Father's Day book. So yeah, this is a historical biographical account, and I'm gonna say historical. I think I gravitate towards history. Question number 10. I love I love that we're having a late spring storm. Okay. Question number 10. Memoirs of happy days or memoirs of tragic days? I feel like the thunder sounds ominous and it's telling me I should pick tragic days. I said gritty before. I said I enjoy gritty. So I'm going to go with tragic days. 11. I'm just looking to see, okay, it has to be tragic because look at this. I have The Way Through the Woods on Mushrooms and Mourning. Mourning, Mourning. So I love a book about grief. I have Can't We Talk About Something More Pleasant by Ross Chast, a memoir. This is one of the books on the 1,000 books to read before you die list, and I am in the middle of it. I started it, I haven't finished it. It's really cool. I really love. It's like mixed media kind of a memoir, and so this is about a daughter who is coping with taking care of her aging parents, and so it is a book that is about a difficult season in adulthood as your parents age. And then this is also a book from the 1,000 Books to Read Before You Die list. Are You Somebody? The Accidental Memoir of a Dublin Woman by Nuala O'Phelan. It says, the book is a shuttle between pain and love, pain of love, but never love of pain. From her columns in the Irish Times, we know Miss O'Phelan as warm, eloquent, loving, and never neutral. In her book, we know her as someone who took chances with men, with causes, with herself, and if she suffered, blamed no one. So I think this is about pain and about a difficult time. So I haven't read it, but I really want to. And I have Persepolis, Volume 1 and Volume 2. And this is about a difficult time. This is about coming of age in Iran. And being an immigrant, a refugee. And so, I feel like I gravitate towards difficult times. Okay. Video got cut off, so I'm gonna resume where I think we left off. The last question is a bonus like a bonus question, bonus prompt is what I'm trying to say. And it was The Complete Diary of Samuel Pepys or selections from the Diary of Samuel Pepys. The Complete Diary of Samuel Pepys is over 4,000 pages or 116 or so hours of audio. And the selections is 120 pages and about 3.55 hours on audio. And I said before, and this is where I'm going to contradict myself. I said before that I like all the info and I like being able to dissect things for myself and tease things out and choose what I want, what I care to read about. So usually I go for a lot of information or like complete works. But in this case, I'm going to go with the selections. And I've never read it. If I'm honest, this tag was my introduction to Samuel Pepys and his diary. So because I had no prior interest in it until this tag, and that led me to the research to find out what the diary is about. I think it sounds fascinating, but I would rather start with the selections in this particular case and then see how I get along with it. And if I want to learn more, I can always learn more. But as of right now, I feel like I'm good with selections from this particular diary. The last question or prompt is to tag people, but this was from April, and I am not going to tag anybody. I'm just going to say thank you. Thank you to Ellen for tagging me. And if you have any responses or anything that I said that sparked interest or a thought, please feel free to share that with me in the comments. And thanks so much for watching. Hasta la próxima. Bye.